Good afternoon. Welcome everybody to Resilience Week. As hopefully all of you know, we are celebrating Resilience Week along with several other trauma-informed community networks across Virginia. We are the Greater Williamsburg Trauma-Informed Community Network, and we are sponsoring events all week long. So please check out our social media and our website for more information about all the events. Today we are excited to welcome Kim Dellinger from Bacon Street Youth and Family Services. I'm going to pass it over to Sherry Newcomb to introduce Kim.
Thank you. Once again, welcome everybody. It's my pleasure to welcome Kim Dellinger. She is the Executive Director of Bacon Street Youth and Family Services, and she's been at Bacon Street since February of 2015. Kim is thrilled to be able to work with such dynamic and dedicated group of prevention and treatment professionals and to work with services for the Greater Williamsburg community and growing the services that's provided to teens and their families. Kim's originally from Arizona. She did her graduate work at Northern Arizona University in history and social studies education. She continued on to graduate school at James Madison University, yay. Kim has worked in substance abuse prevention with teens for more than a decade and is passionate about empowering youth and families that lead healthy and successful lives. In her free time, she loves to garden, read, hike, and she's passionate about Broadway musical and the arts. Welcome, Kim. Thank you so much for agreeing to present today, and I'm turning it to you.
So thank you so much, everybody. Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Rebecca, I'm gonna probably, like, from the beginning, I just want to say thank you to Rebecca and all of you wonderful folks who are part of the Greater Williamsburg Trauma-Informed Care Network. It's a privilege to be able to get to speak here. Did you all bring your rubber ducks? I want to see everybody. Does everybody have the rubber ducks? No, that's okay. You know what? For those of you who did not, I brought extra rubber ducks. Very nice, Atira. I like it. So I've got some extras here. If you do not have a rubber duck at the end of the presentation today and you would like a rubber duck, I have some and I would be delighted to bring them by and drop them off at your place of work. So I'm happy to do that for you. So like Sherry said, my name is Kim Dellinger. I'm the Executive Director here at Bacon Street Youth and Family Services. Bacon Street's been around since 1971. We are celebrating our 50th anniversary literally next week. It's going to be so exciting on May 11th. We're very excited about it. So I am going to bring up a PowerPoint presentation. If you are having a hard time seeing it or something, please just put something in the chat box so that we can make sure that we get that taken care of, okay? Okay. All right, so can everybody see what I'm showing you right now? I'm assuming that's a yes. Okay, let's go with that. So keeping all the ducks in a row. This is the presentation today. I'm glad you brought your rubber ducks along with you. We keep talking about resilience. And so one of the things that I wanted to talk about first to get us started is, what is resilience? So there are a couple of different definitions that I found. The first one was the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties or toughness. Then also there's the ability of a substance or object to spring back into shape and also to have some elasticity to it. So I have one thing that I'm asking for everybody to do today. If you get one thing out of this presentation, I feel like that this has been a successful opportunity for us to talk. If you get more than one thing out of today's presentation, that's a bonus for us. So, all right, the first thing I want to talk a little bit about is the 7 C's of resilience. Now, this is based on a book by Kenneth Ginsberg. He's a doctor, and it's called Building Resilience in Children and Teens. And he talks a bit about his ideas of 7 C's of resilience. They are competence, confidence, connection, character, contribution, coping, and control. Here's the book. There's some more information about what the name of the book is. If you're interested, I can always send out a link afterwards about what this is about. But there is the link. There's the book. It's available on Amazon for everybody. So we're starting with competence. The first thing I want to talk about with competence is everybody needs to feel like they are good at something. So one of the things that I wanted to, and actually, Rebecca, I'm going to go back for just a second. Can we put it on gallery view so that I can also see everybody? Because I want to make sure that we're making this as engaging as possible, but I don't know how to
Jim,
do
if you stop sharing your screen, then you
Okay.
can be able to see everybody on gallery view.
None. Okay, so I see that. I'm sorry, guys. And if I go to something, and one of the things that we want to make sure that we're doing is we are giving the young people and the adults in our families an opportunity to be competent in something. So the first thing that I would say is we want to encourage folks to practice when you aren't under pressure. Make sure you're doing your homework. You're finding out what works. Find something that you're really, really good at. So that when things are stressful, you know that you can handle it. And by knowing that you can handle it, it actually makes it easier to handle the situation. So knowing that you are good at something makes you better at the same thing because of your feeling of competence. Okay, so the first thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to talk about how do we make a paper crane. It's the first time you make a paper crane, and I did this with my kids last night. The first time you do it and you are learning how to do something, it took us more than 8 minutes actually. The time we got to that 5th time of making that paper crane, it only took us 4 minutes. And by the 10th time we made a paper crane, it took us 2 minutes. We were so good at making paper cranes that it only took us 2 minutes to get one done. So the point that we're trying to talk about right now is about building competence. We are trying to build the skill level of the people around us and also ourselves. And the more that you build your skill set, the more confident you're going to feel about something. So we're not going to go into making paper cranes right now because that would take large amounts of the presentation time. But I did leave a link here if you're interested in learning how to make a paper crane. Okay, so confidence. You be you. Confidence is rooted in the earlier one of the 7 C's of competence. If you are confident and you're able to demonstrate your strengths and be yourself, then you can be yourself better than anyone else. And that right there is super, super important when we're working with young people and with adults. The more that you can basically fake it till you make it, the better you're going to be in the long run. And that's one of the big things about confidence. So what I wanted to do is I'm going to have us do a super person power pose. So I want everybody to stand up, okay? Everybody stand up. We tried to be as gender inclusive as possible. So we've got Wonder Woman and we've got Superman and we've got his name is something kid, but he is Marvel's first, or they are Marvel's first gender neutral superhero. So what we want you to do is we want you to stand up. We want you to pull your shoulders back. We want you to take a big deep breath in for 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, out for 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We want you to put your hands on your hips. You want to hold that pose for 5 seconds. Okay? And then we're going to repeat these 2 more times. So put your hands back down to your sides. We're going to stand up, shoulders back. Big deep breath in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Out for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hands on your hips. Hold the pose for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to do this one more time. Stand up, shoulders back. Big deep breath in. 2, 3, 4. Out for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hands on your hips. Hold the pose for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, folks, you can go ahead and sit down now. What did that make you feel like? Tell me, how did you feel?
Wonder Woman.
Like Wonder Woman? That's perfect. That's exactly what we're looking for. What else?
I feel like if I dress like Catwoman tomorrow, I'm going to tell them that I attended this webinar and you told me I could.
Yay, I love that. That's wonderful. So one of the things that is important about power posing and doing this kind of thing is that it builds confidence. It builds, it increases your testosterone, which is courage building hormones, and it reduces cortisol in your system, which is the stress creating hormones, just by standing there with your hands on your hips. And so oftentimes when I work with young people who have to do a presentation or they have to get ready to do something, I will encourage them to do the super person power poses before they do their presentation, because it helps them fake it till they make it. So that's one of the things that I would recommend. If you are needing just a little bit of a boost, do some power posing. It helps a lot. Okay. So the next thing is connection. So humans need connection. We crave relationships. We don't do well in isolation. We all know that COVID-19 has been very hard on lots and lots of folks from a mental health perspective and from a connection perspective. So creating a sense of belonging matters so much to the people who we are working with, and letting the people you know how much they mean to you. So what I want you guys to do is find some pieces of paper. So I have sticky notes here is what I will do. So I want you to take just a few minutes and I want you to write, and you can do 10, you can do 3, you can do 1, but I want you to write a sticky note to somebody you care about right now. And then we're gonna, and tell them why you care about them. Let them know how much they mean to you. So writing a sticky note is one of those kinds of things. Just a note or a simple, like thoughtful note that you put somewhere for somebody to let them know that you care about them. That's creating connection. So one of my, when I was 25, I was in the process of, had to leave the country for about 3.5 months and was really sad about having to leave my boyfriend at the time. And we were really looking for ways to create connection while we were gone. And so I actually took a whole pack of sticky notes and I folded them into, wrote little notes all over them and put them all over the house so that he would find them at different times while I was gone. And it was a really fun way for us to create a sense of connection even while we were apart from each other. This is a great tool or technique to let somebody know that you love them, even when you might not necessarily be around with them.
I have a stamp pad and this cute little stamp that I always leave little sticky notes for people in the office.
I love that so much. That's great. So this is another thing that I wanted you guys to see, and I don't know if you have seen these before. They're these lamps, and yes, they are expensive, but the concept is super cool. So you can set up a lamp, and you buy them, and it comes in a 2-pack. And if you have a loved one who's across the country from you, you can send them this lamp, and and the way it works is that if you touch the lamp changes colors. So it's a way of creating a sense of connection, again, that they're thinking about you, that you're thinking about them. Again, finding ways to help folks really create that sense of connection is what this piece is about. So think about that person who you just wrote your note to. I'm going to pick on somebody. Latara, who did, can you tell us who you, would you be willing to share who you wrote your note to?
I wrote it to my husband.
Okay.
I was actually going to take a picture of it and send it to him.
Yay, that's wonderful.
So I have my little sticky note.
Very nice. So,
Go ahead.
go ahead, tell us what you, are you comfortable sharing with us what you said?
Oh, sure. I wrote, you are such a good dad and amazing husband. You make me laugh and you take good care of us. Thank you. I love you. I do send sappy text messages like this from time to time, so he won't be surprised, except that it's on a post-it. He's going to be like, what's going on? What's on a post-it?
That's perfect. That's so wonderful. That's what creating a connection is about. Finding those ways to say, I love you, I care about you, you matter to me on a regular basis with those you love in your life. So thinking, just using some of these prompts as you write these notes, and I would give you a homework assignment to see how many of these sticky notes that you can make to give to folks in your life that matter to you. I would love to hear from folks if after the fact, if you made like 10 different sticky notes or 20 different sticky notes and you put them in different places, I'd love to hear what you said and how that was received by the folks who you did it for. So, okay, we're gonna keep moving on. So character. Character is the next one of our C's that we're talking about this. Character is is all about what do you stand up for. Having a strong sense of character allows you to really step up when you need to say something that needs to be said. It also helps you clarify your value systems. Where do you draw the line? What is important to you? What do you value versus what do you not value? What is your personal value system? And also, have you talked about that personal value system with the people that you care about? So our next activity is also an interactive activity. So it's a values clarification activity. We use this a lot in the therapeutic world, and it allows for people to really see what your values are and how they might be similar or different from other people. So I'm going to pick a few of these. We're not going to do all of them. But my first thing is going to be to ask, would you, Rebecca, be rather be born with an elephant trunk or a giraffe neck?
I'm gonna go with giraffe neck.
Can you tell us why?
I feel like I would like to be able to see above the trees and kind of be able to have that vantage point to kind of have the long high view.
Okay, great. All right, Atira, it's Atira, right? Did I say right? Okay. If you have, would you rather have somebody give you $100 or give $1,000 to the charity of your choice?
I would give $1,000 to the charity just because thankfully I'm comfortable in life and I'd rather be able to make something better for somebody else or other people.
That's awesome. Thank you, Atira. Sherry, the next question is for you. Would you rather be hairy all over or completely bald?
Probably hairy all over because I know how to take care of that.
Okay, I love it. That's
I know
wonderful.
how to permanently take care of that. That's a good
That's
one.
wonderful. Thank you.
Mhm.
So the point of that kind of activity is it starts dialogue. It allows you to talk with people who you might not be talking about things as often as possible. It builds resiliency because you learn more about somebody. You see that people have a different worldview from you, but it also teaches you about what you believe in. So, Corey, would you rather be invisible or be able to read minds?
Oh, that's hard. I'd like to do both of those things. I'd like to be invisible just to like pick on my son because it's fun. I don't have a real good reason.
I like it. That's great. So, well, thank you guys for participating, and we're going to have more opportunities for you to participate with us as we move along. Okay, contribution is our next C. How are you contributing to the world around you? What skills do you bring to the table? With kids, it might be, what are the things that they are particularly good at and they bring to their family unit? So it might look like they have a responsibility for doing the dishes, or they might have to be the ones who take out the trash on a weekly basis. Contribution matters a lot, and the more somebody feels like they are contributing to the world around them, the more connected they are and the more resilient they're going to be. Those kinds of contributions are integral pieces of what we can do for families and for young people, and also for adults and parents. Thinking about what are the contributions that you bring to the table. So Sherry, I'm going to pick on you again. I'd like you to tell me, what is something that is a contribution that you make in your family unit?
Wow. I'm probably, because I'm a touchy-feely person, and that's probably what I bring. It's just, you know, to be able to express that I love somebody, and it's a good story is my granddaughter kept telling my husband this weekend that she loved him. And so Sunday night I asked him, I said, why do you think she kept saying that? And he said, I don't know. And I said, because she wants to hear it back. So I think that's what I bring to my family, is that emotional connection, and it's okay to express how we feel and how we love one another.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that, Sherry. Contributions and contributions are different from person to person. It really just depends. And working with young people, working with teens, working with adults, and really articulating, you know what, Rebecca, one of the things that I really appreciate about you is the fact that you're able to help me with the technical assistance parts of this presentation. You have made a serious contribution to us being able to do this together, and that matters so much to me. So thank you, Rebecca. By recognizing the contributions that somebody is bringing to the table in whatever environment that you're in, whether it's work or if it's school or if it's at home, you're going to have that much better of a feeling, and you're going to be more resilient because of it. Okay. So this was a short activity that I wanted us to do real quick. What are the ways that you contribute? So I want you to take a minute, and if you still have your sticky notes, I want you to write down 5 ways that you contribute in your life. And it could be for work, it could be for school, it could be for home, it could be for recreational, social services, not social services, but social activities, all of those kinds of things. Rebecca, social services would be both of those things for you, I'm sure. So take a minute, and I want you to list 5 ways that you contribute. And when you are done, put your finger in your nose. Okay. Almost everybody's there. Fantastic. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for participating. Atira, what did you come up with?
I put down positivity and optimism. Small acts of kindness to random individuals and loved ones, participation in local committees, food distributions for the PTA, and a cheesy sense of humor.
Love it. That's exactly what we're looking for. You are making great tangible contributions on a daily basis. That is exactly what this is about. We are trying to encourage and also help you identify those things that you are contributing. If you've got a kiddo who is struggling with mental health issues, one of the best things that you can do for them is to help them understand how they're contributing, because they feel like they feel like they're more connected to the world around them, and they feel like that they are able to give something back to that world. So, okay, coping. So sometimes, this is the next C on our list. So sometimes you need to have some coping strategies. It's just the way the world works. We're not always going to be able to handle all of the stress that's going on a day-to-day basis. There's lots of different ways that people can cope. You can participate in sports. You can participate in, you can do mindfulness. You can do meditation. You can dance. You can read a book. There's lots of different ways that people are using coping strategies that are really effective. So before we go on to the next one, I wanted to ask you guys, what are some of the ways that you cope with stress in your life? And I'm not going to call on anybody. I'm going to ask you guys to volunteer this time.
I've started taking Pilates
Nice.
and monthly getting massages.
That's wonderful. Barb, I love that you get monthly massages. I do the same thing. It's one of the ways that I am able to cope with my life around me. Awesome. Who else? Anybody else have a way that they cope?
I do yoga, and I like to read, just to get lost in a really good book.
Sherry, I love it. That's one of my favorite things that I like to do as well. I say that my secret pleasure or secret guilty pleasure is that I like to read teenage sci-fi fantasy books. It's a whole genre within itself, and I have found that if I'm having a particularly rough day, if I can like drop into the middle of a Percy Jackson book, I am good. Like that totally like helps me check out from the stress in my life. It's one of the ways that I cope. So the thing though that I want to talk about next is laughter. So laughter is one of those things that has been found to be physiologically, emotionally, mentally, behaviorally positive, and is a fantastic way to deal with coping. So I have some jokes that I collected that I wanted to share with you guys. And they're all on the next screen. So I'm just going to go to the next screen and read a few of them for you guys. So they're dad jokes, as we call them. This is one of my favorite things, and my husband will often send me dad jokes. He'll text me dad jokes in the middle of the day to keep me coping with all of the different kinds of things that are going on in my life, and it truly helps me. So I ordered a chicken and an egg from Amazon. I'll let you know. I spent a lot of time, money, and effort child-proofing my house, but the kids still keep getting in. So Atira, what rock group has 4 men that don't sing? Mount Rushmore, isn't it great? I love it. It makes me laugh so much. Imagine if you walked into a bar and there was a long line of people waiting to take a swing at you. It's called the punchline. My wife said that I was immature, so I told her to get out of my fort. So using these kinds of jokes, I'm already watching everybody's faces. Everybody's smiling. Everybody is is laughing a little bit to themselves. Laughter is one of those things that impacts your mental state, and it builds your sense of resiliency as well. If you have a chance to watch a comedy or go to a comedy club or participate in some sort of corny joke off with a friend of yours, those kinds of things really build your sense of resiliency, and it also lowers your stress level. So I encourage you all to go find some really good dad jokes and bring them home with you today and tell everybody the dad jokes that you learned about today. Okay. And then the last thing is control. Giving folks the opportunity to be the decision maker in a situation boosts their confidence and their sense of resilience. So this one matters so much for young people, for not so young people. If you give them a sense of control in a situation, then they feel empowered and they feel like that they can do more with the environment around them. And it doesn't have to be a big decision. It could be a small decision. So when my children were young, to give them that sense of control, we did a lot of, would you like the red cup or would you like the blue cup for them? They knew that they had to have a cup and that it had to have milk in it, but they got to pick their cup that they wanted. And that allowed for them to feel like they had a sense of control in the situation. With teenagers, it's a little bit more complex. We talk a lot at Bacon Street about our teens, our young people who come to visit us are the ones who are driving the bus. They're the ones who are making the decisions about what their treatment goals are going to be, or how they want to address issues, or what they really want to get out of their therapeutic experience. By doing that for a teenager and putting them in the driver's seat, if you will, they are feeling more empowered and they feel more in control, and they feel like they are more able to handle the things that are going on around them. So one of the ways that we can support young people and parents and community members is really to give folks a sense of control. So I'm going to give you guys a sense of control. You ready? Are you excited? All right. Are you going to listen to the rest of our Lunch and Learn presentation, or are you going to go eat lunch? It is completely up to you as to what you want to do. There is no judgment about this. We are giving you the autonomy to make this decision yourself. So if you decide to go eat your lunch right now, totally okay. If you decide to participate, continue participating in our Lunch and Learn, that is your decision as well. Okay. Look, we're done. That's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this presentation. Here's my contact information. The whole point of this is that I really just wanted folks to start thinking about what is it that we can do for ourselves and for those folks in our lives who really need that additional support that resiliency can bring them. So I wanted to take a few minutes. If you have questions or comments or ideas that you want to share, this is your time to do that.
I ate my lunch already. I am stuck on the costumes, and I'm hoping that the next time I see you do this, you'll wear like a Wonder Woman costume, because I just think that would be great.
A costume?
Yeah.
You need me to wear a costume?
Yeah.
Fantastic. I will make sure that I've got a costume for next time. Okay. But I did bring my ducks, and I'm sorry that I wasn't able to have more ducks for you guys. So, okay. Thank you, Corey. I appreciate it. What else? What other questions do you have about this? I feel like this presentation was quite definitely a little bit sillier than some other presentations might be about resiliency when we're talking about trauma. the neat thing about this is that the data, there's data to support every single one of the things that we talked about today. Trauma-informed practices don't have to be really serious all the time. They can be really fun and silly. They can be engaging. They can be supportive, and they can work with a variety of different populations.
So I have a question.
Yes.
So I think for me, so I have a son who just turned 11, and I can definitely see that control is a big part of what he would like for himself. You know, he definitely feels like he wants to be more independent,
Yeah.
things like that. And so one of the things I saw on one of your previous slides was about, you know, the power pose and how it builds a sense of testosterone. And, you know, I'm like, that's probably not what he needs more of. But so kind of keeping along those lines, you know, it's interesting because I think that's part of it, is that he has this sense of you know, being a super person himself, and wanting to give him some control issues. You know, what would you suggest are some maybe age appropriate or older age appropriate control? Like, for example, he wants to be a YouTuber, you know, he wants to have a YouTube account. And I'm like, you know, I'm a little concerned about what could go on out there. But are there ways to, like, maybe have him think he has more control than he has, but it's kind of, you know, that sense of some kind of power from the parent. It's a safe, but then you also are building his own confidence to make mistakes and kind of stumble through things that are a little bit lower stakes, if that makes sense.
So Rebecca, I love what you are saying, because that is exactly the kind of thing that we as parents struggle with on a day-to-day basis with our young kids. So this is what I would suggest in a situation like that. He wants to be a YouTuber? Cool. Let's start him with doing some videos. Like, not necessarily videos on YouTube yet, but have him perfect the ability to do a video of himself. If he wants to be a YouTuber and he wants to present his ideas about things, have him start planning and thinking about what is it that he wants to get out of that experience. I think the other thing that you can do is as a parent, you can set settings in YouTube so that you have a completely private channel. So if you set a private YouTube account up for him, he can be a YouTuber and nobody can see him at all other than him or the people that you allow into that. It allows him to have a little bit more of that sense of autonomy. It allows him to experiment, because experimenting with for kids is really, really important. One of the things that we know about child development is that if you don't let adolescents experiment in some way, their ability to be able to make critical decisions as adults is going to be impacted pretty dramatically. And so teaching kids to take risks, but to take healthy risks, is all about what we want them to do. So for example, my daughter right now, who is almost 13, wants very much to have all of the social media things, and we have her relatively well locked down right now. But what we have said is that we will allow her to have some control over that as we move forward, and it will be on a case-by-case basis, allowing for her to be able to learn what the limits are and what the limits aren't. Teaching her how to manage and navigate those boundaries and issues is incredibly important for us to do with our kids, especially in the world that we're in right now. If you can, so my daughters at 11 wanted phones. They wanted to have a smartphone, and I'm like, nope, we're not going to do smartphones. But what we did do for them is we gave them iPods, and an iPod allowed for us to be able to really lock it down and make sure that the information that they could get to is very limited, but they could still have a level of control over what they were seeing that was above what they were doing before. Is that helpful? Awesome. Thanks for
I'm also going to look into that book. I feel like that book would give some good, helpful tips too. Because I agree, the building resilience at this age is important. So I appreciate that.
But it's tricky, and you know, our kids are on the cusp of those teenage years right now, and navigating that you can be the world's biggest professional and have like all of these different degrees behind your name, but when it's your own kid, it feels very different. And understanding that all parents going through this at the same time, it creates a higher sense of empathy as well as for professionals as to how to work with somebody who might be struggling.